Hi guys, how are you? I am sharing this video while I wait for our audience to pop in. So please take a moment to share yourself. Hi guys, I see people are popping in. Please introduce yourself so I know who's here. Today's topic is leadership, and this is a very big topic, a very big question I'm often asked. So, while I'm taking a moment to share our lesson, please, whoever's here, just say hi so I know who's here, please. And I'm sharing this lesson so that more folks can tune in who are interested. Hello, I see someone else just joined. Please take a moment and introduce yourself while I'm sharing this on our various pages. Just write a comment, say hi so I know who's here. I see that there are a few people, so I'd like to know who I'm teaching today. And my question for you is, do you consider yourself a leader? And if not, why? Saeed, hi, how are you? I'm well, thank you. Okay, I'm just sharing this in a couple of places while we're waiting for a few more people. I know that several people said that they were looking forward to this week's live lesson. As you can see, I'm inside. I'm not outside in Tony's beautiful garden, which was incredible for last week's lesson. Usman, hello, how are you? Guys, please go ahead and share this video. Just click the share button down on the bottom. This is not going to be this isn't going to be a very long lesson, but I do have some traits of leaders and some instruction for you, how you can actually become a leader. So stick around. Hello, Raymond. How are you? Tariq. I call you Tariq. And guys, the question I asked is, do you consider yourself a leader? And if not, why? So please take a moment to write some comments and answer that question. This is, I could just record this video ahead of time, but it's important to me to do once a week an interactive lesson with you. A lot of people write to me and ask me for advice and help and support. And there are only 24 hours in my day, and this is my volunteer work. This is my free teaching in Amy Carrier's classroom for you. It's happening once a week, and it's important that I make myself available online. So please, yes, keep commenting. Tariq is fine. Good. Saeed, how become a good leader? Yeah, so my question is, do you consider yourself a leader? So you can just say yes or no. Just write yes or no in the comments right now. And if you do not consider yourself a leader, tell me why not, please. And there we go. I think I've shared this enough. So yes or no, do you consider yourself a leader? Hello, Nasir. I'm glad you're here. So Nasir, my question is, do you consider yourself a leader? So yes or no in the comments, please. This is our interactive class, and this is your opportunity to tell me exactly why you don't feel like you're a leader. And I can tell you right now that this topic this week actually came from a lot of conversation that was happening in our classroom, as well as messages that I was getting personally. And I can't answer everyone's messages, but what you show me you are interested in hearing me talk about and teach about is precisely what I'm going to teach about each week. So Hamad, thank you. I think leaders are born, not made. It's something in your genes. You know, I believe that's true, but I believe you can also develop leadership skills. You don't have to see yourself as, president or prime minister of your country. If that doesn't feel like it's you, or you don't feel like you're going to be the Bill Gates of the world, you can still be a leader in your own community. You can be a leader in your family. You can be a leader in your neighborhood. You can be a leader online within your friends group. So this is what I want to talk about, and I want to be sure that I hear from you and hear who thinks they are a leader and who thinks they are not a leader. So please write that, and then I'm going to go into the teaching portion of this. So Nasir says yes, he considers himself to be a mediocre level leader who needs to learn a lot to survive in this challenging world. There you go. And I'm curious, Nasir, why do you think being a leader will help you survive in this challenging world? It is a challenging world. We live in really insane times. So it's definitely a time to build your leadership skills. And thank you. I see a lot more people have joined us. I'm glad to have you. Please, I've just asked the question, and I just want you to say yes or no in the comments. Do you consider yourself a leader? Either yes or no, or as Nasir said, kind of mediocre. I'm going to give you the traits, what I believe are the traits of a leader, and then I'm going to give you 4 important skills that you can work on developing to build your own leadership skills. So please take a moment, tell me yes or no in the comments. Do you consider yourself a leader? You can also in the comments ask or tell me what it is that you want to know about becoming a leader. This is my weekly interactive lesson with you. I cannot respond to everybody as much as I'd like to, but this is why we created Amy Carrier's Classroom. Just take a moment right now to share this video so that everyone can see it, everyone can join us, and we can be sure to have the richest conversation possible. Let me just, okay, whoops. So what do we have here? Saeed says our leader is Imran Khan. Yes, I know. So he's the country's leader, but he doesn't have to be your leader. I'm curious why you said it that way. Mohammed Awan says, thank you. Hamad says, I agree, but how long it takes to be a decent leader? Look, if you're breathing, you can work on your leadership skills. So just living gives you plenty of opportunities to work on those skills. And why is that? It's because you interact with people every day, all day long, and you get to develop these traits that I'm going to teach you, I'm going to talk to you about. Thank you to everyone who's here. Please take a moment to just hit the share button for this video so that everybody can join us and everybody can benefit. I'm going to be talking about leadership, and this is in response to a lot of conversation and a lot of private messages I received this week. And I specifically chose this topic because I think everyone who wants to build a new business, a new project, a new organization needs to work on developing their leadership skills. And then you'll be more prepared to become an entrepreneur. So we've got some more comments. Thank you. Usman says he doesn't think he's a leader right now, but he thinks he can be good. That's amazing. That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. That's belief in yourself. And Mohammed Awan says, I want to improve my English. Okay, that's not what we're talking about today. So my recommendation is that you watch this video. You can read the comments and join our classroom so that you can communicate in English. That is one of the very few rules I have, is that you speak in English so that everyone in the classroom can understand and can communicate back with you. Carla, hello. Nasir, I believe all of us have to become leaders as we grow. Yes, we do. Absolutely. And Usman says, how can I judge myself whether I'm a good leader or not? That's a great question. So, have you ever been told that you're a good leader? That's a very good place to start. And do you have the ability to kind of see a problem within a group of people and respond to it and jump in and try and solve that problem? Hi, Suresh. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Please share this video, my soul sister from another land, and everyone else, please share this video. I'm going to start talking now specifically about what I developed, the curriculum that I developed for this lesson. So I invite you to respond and to ask your questions based on what I'm going to be talking about. And I've come up with these 5 traits that I believe, in all of my experience working with other people, observing leaders, and being a leader myself, these are the 5 traits that I believe a leader has to have, has to develop. And after I go through this, I'm actually going to give you a total of 4 steps for how you can build your leadership qualities, your leadership skills, okay? Thank you everyone for being here. Please take a moment to share. And I didn't get a ton of answers to my question, do you consider yourself to be a leader? There are a lot of longer comments that are a little trickier for me to read. I appreciate the discussion. We'll have these comments up, obviously, after the video. So, please just say yes or no if you consider yourself a leader. That was the first question I asked. And okay, good. Carla, thank you. Carla says yes, she's a leader. And Muhammad, there's so many Muhammads, but I'm talking to Muhammad Awan. How much dedication is important? This should become part of your personality development. So as long as we're alive, we're growing. If we're here, we're both students and teachers. And to be students of life and to improve our skills is what we're doing. So let's start with the 5 traits of a leader. The first one, I believe, is the absolute most important. And for those of you who are asking, how do I do this? Here's your answer. Do you have these traits inside yourself? So, okay, I'm getting lots of yeses. That's great. We have lots of leaders here. Yes, in process. That's wonderful. Thank you. So trait number 1 of a leader is integrity. And just give me a thumbs up if you think you have integrity. And integrity is a really, it's the thing that I value most in people because it encompasses so much of actually what I'm going to go through next. But integrity is what someone is deep in themselves. And it encompasses honesty, the willingness to do the right thing no matter what's happening, and do the right thing in every different area of your life. So whether it's with your friends, with your family, with telling someone something difficult you don't want to talk about, with, communicating a challenge, or with your money, you have integrity. If you have integrity inside, then you have the basic foundation building block for being a leader. And the second thing is honesty, which is part of integrity. You have to be honest if you're going to be a leader. People need to be able to trust you. So honesty is the way you get other people to trust you. If you're not honest, people can feel it, they can sense it, or they figure out your lie later on, and then you've lost them. The third thing is trust. And I'm talking about 2 kinds of trust. You have to trust yourself. If you're going to be a leader, you absolutely, without a doubt, have to trust yourself. Okay, good. Suresh, I'm so sorry. Send me a voice message and tell me how to say your name. Suresh gave me a thumbs up. So, and then trusting yourself is important because when you're a leader, you have to make decisions all the time on the fly. And sometimes those decisions are going to be really tricky, but you still have to make them right now. So do you trust yourself to make the best decision in a given moment? And then you have to be able to trust the people that you have brought onto your team. Or if this is just your life, you have to be able to trust your friends. And you chose those friends. You chose the people who are on your team. You chose your partners. So you have to trust your judgment earlier on. Now, if people give you reason to change your mind and say, I really can't trust this person, that's a step you have to take to actually make a decision. If you think you can't trust someone, then you need to deal with that issue and you need to confront that relationship, not that person, but that relationship. So the fourth trait of a leader is that they are visionaries. And visionaries are system thinkers. They see how everything can come together, how everything works together, and they have an awareness of the bigger picture, even if they aren't experts in everything. So one of the things that I've been seeing repeatedly in Amy Carrier's classroom is this idea that I'm not an expert in this, or I don't believe in myself, or how many classes do I have to take, or how many hours do I need to practice doing this? And the reality is you need to be good at several different things. You need to be a jack of all trades, but you also need to understand that you can't just, trying to figure out how I want to say this. You don't need to be an expert in everything to become a leader. If you're an expert in one part of your vision, that's amazing. Then you're going to have to work to become good in several other areas. But that's why you're a leader, and that's why you build a team of experts who are better in certain things than you are. And please understand that there's a difference between visionaries and dreamers. And you can comment about that. But a dreamer just kind of sits back and says, oh, I see all the solutions for the problems in the world. This would be great if somebody would do it. Well, a visionary is someone who's actually going to do the work, step up to the plate, and take on that leadership role to solve that problem or whatever it is. And that's my fifth point, that leaders are action-oriented. Leaders have to be making decisions, responding to situations and challenges and problems, answering questions constantly. So they have to be action-oriented. You don't just get to sit back and take a vacation. You should take a vacation. You need to have a balance in your life. But you need to be action-oriented and don't wait for other people to do things. In fact, if you have an idea, if you have a vision, if you have a solution to a problem and you don't take action on it, you can pretty much count on someone else stepping up and taking that action in your place. So those are my 5 traits: integrity, honesty, trust themselves and others. They're visionaries, and finally, they're action-oriented. Top 5 traits right there. My observation. And I'm going to look at the comments real quick. If there's anything about this list of 5. All right. Mohammed Arman says it's really hard to trust people. That's why you have to trust yourself in choosing the right people. Look, if you're going to be an entrepreneur and you're going to be building a team and finding partners, most people are not going to be your people. So that's why you need to get really good at trusting yourself so you can decide, I can trust this person, not this one, not this one, not this one, not this one, and maybe not these 10, but I can trust that one and I can trust that one. So maybe out of 50 people, you only choose to trust 3 to bring into your vision. And that's fine. That's okay. Integrity, honesty, trust for leaders are important. Yes, thank you, Essen. Thank you. Okay, so do you guys have any quick questions about that list of 5? Can you hear me, guys? Carla says I bumped off. Last step is the hardest. Being action-oriented, you mean, Umair? An example of action is seeing something that needs to be done and you take the action. You have to be action oriented. You can't wait for someone else to do it, or you can't just say, oh, I need this done, so I'll just ask this person, and then never follow up, or not insist that they follow through on a particular schedule, on a particular deadline to deliver what it is that you need them to do. So that's the action. And as a founder, as an entrepreneur, as the first one building something, you have to be the one to do the work first. People won't follow a leader who's not doing what they're talking about. So this concept of modeling behavior for others is exactly what I'm talking about in terms of being action oriented. You do it first, you're the leader, other people will follow. Yes, Muhammad Usman said, can you summarize? Absolutely. I'll summarize at the end. Okay, so here are my 4 tips for you on how you can actually apply what I've talked about in order to be a leader in your life. So number 1, and this, I've said this so many times, probably more than anything else on Amy Carrier's Classroom, you must believe in you. So number 1, for how to be a leader, you have to believe in yourself. And this comes from the very hard work of learning how to love yourself. And I know that there are a lot of people who feel that they don't love themselves, and that requires work. That's like a whole other lesson that I'm not going to be talking about today, but I will say, if you feel like you don't love yourself, I want you to really spend some deep reflective time with yourself and ask yourself, why wouldn't you love yourself? If I can love you because I've chosen to build this classroom and give my time, a ton of my time online, and give my time every week to give you guys a free interactive lesson, if I can choose to love you in this way without ever knowing you, why can't you choose to love yourself? I really want you to think about that. And, you know, you can think about it in terms of your religious expression or how you have your values and your virtues in life. But really, why wouldn't you love yourself? You know, you were born into this life, into this body, into this personality for some reason, right? There's some reason. And if you can get to that and understand that that was given to you as a gift to help you learn and grow, that's the purpose of life. We learn and grow and help others. Then why wouldn't you love yourself? And it takes work. You can't just like flip a switch and decide, oh, I'm going to love myself. If you can, that's amazing. Do it. And then teach the rest of the world how to do it. But it takes work. And it takes work doing small steps of doing things to show yourself that you love yourself. And sometimes that can be pampering yourself. You know, if you're exhausted, go home and take a nap or take a bath or do something that makes you feel good. That is loving yourself in action. Sometimes loving yourself is saying no. Is saying no to someone who wants you to do something. Sometimes loving yourself is saying yes. So really think about what that means for you. And that is how you get to this place of believing in yourself. Let me look at the comments. Okay, no comments on that. So second step in how to be a leader. And these aren't simple things, guys. These are steps. This is part of a process that you actually really need to work on. And this is personal work. It's not like busy work. You can't just write a document and take care of it. This is personal work. And number 2 especially is have a strength of character. And I'll tell you exactly what I mean by that. It means do not be reactive to the opinions or sometimes the attacks of other people. And I want you to make this your mantra so that you can build your strength of character. What someone else thinks of me is none of my business. What someone else thinks of me is none of my business. Because someone else's opinion of you is theirs, has nothing to do with you. It's really telling about who they are on the inside. So you want to work on yourself to get to this place where you are not reactive. And again, this is lifelong work. This is not easy. This is part of the process of living and growing into your leadership, growing into your integrity, and growing into your wisdom. So don't be reactive to the opinions and sometimes the attacks of others. And there's a flip side to that, which is kind of interesting. So you really have to spend some time thinking about this, because if you are not defining yourself based on what other people say about you, then that means you're not defining yourself by the good things they say about you either. And that's actually a good thing. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but it's a good thing, because then it means that you don't live your life saying, I only feel good about myself when other people say good things about me. If you do that, then again, you're not loving yourself. You're not living inside of yourself. You're not living your integrity. And you're not really truly embodying what I just said. I'll say the quote one more time. What someone else thinks of me is none of my business. Really think about that. I'm curious what people think about that. All right, so step 3, the work for you to do to become a leader, is show kindness and compassion. We can look around the world today and we can see lots of leaders who are making lots of mistakes, especially leaders in government all around the world. And the mistakes they're making is because they're leading from a place of fear and control. And maybe that used to work, but that doesn't work anymore. People don't want to follow someone who makes them feel afraid, or makes them feel controlled, or makes them feel owned or defined. People want to follow someone who makes them feel good about themselves, who makes them feel loved and seen and appreciated and understood. And obviously a government leader can't necessarily do those things, but by showing kindness and compassion, they can. And so can you. So this third step in your becoming a leader process that you are going to do with everyone every day of your life is learning how to show kindness and compassion in every interaction you have. And this is important. Show kindness and compassion to yourself. That is part of that whole bigger discussion about how do you love yourself. And then the fourth step in becoming a leader is be empathetic toward all people. And I'm kind of curious if you guys know and understand this idea of empathy. I'm going to talk about it. But basically what I'm saying is that it's so important for you to do your best to put yourself in someone else's shoes and understand what they're experiencing in their life. Now, this isn't a full-time job that you have to do. It's just when you're interacting with someone, or when you're making your decision about whether or not this is someone to trust, you want to be empathetic and to put yourself in their position. So imagine them, okay, this person is a mother of 5 children and her husband just died. So how would that make me feel? Take a moment and actually say, oh my gosh, I can't imagine her struggle right now. She's grieving. She still has to feed and raise her 5 children, and now she's alone. Or it could be as simple as, you're talking to a partner, a potential partner for your business. And that potential partner has, a full-time job already, and they have to keep that full-time job in order to continue to pay the bills and buy food. And they really want to work with you on building this new vision that you have. How can you put yourself in their shoes to just understand what their life experience might be like? And the more you learn how to have empathy for other people and put yourself in other people's shoes, the more successful you're going to be at the previous step, which is showing kindness, and the previous step to that, which is having strength of character and believing in yourself. So those are my 4 steps. And as Muhammad asked, I will absolutely go through those again. I see that there's still lots of people here. I'm having a hard time viewing through my, or scrolling through my, oh, there's so many comments. Okay, so Farouk says, empathy, that the magic I wish kicks in my homeland. Oh, yeah, I do too. I mean, I just posted on Facebook, if you guys follow me, I just posted on Facebook a story that a group of Afghani girl students who are participating in a STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math competition here in the United States were denied a visa. What's happening here in the United States with this denying people visas and entry from specific countries, it's just, to me, it's heartbreaking. It lacks all common sense. It lacks all empathy. So I am totally with you on that. And what else do we have here? Yeah, Suresh, it is hard putting yourself in someone else's shoes, and most people don't. You're right, because most people kind of go through life just reacting to life, just kind of living their own experience, and they don't take a couple of minutes to say, okay, I'm not the only human in this situation or in this country or on this planet right now, so what can I do to actively put myself in someone else's shoes and develop empathy? It's a very important and very valuable practice for you to develop. And that will help to get you where you guys want to go in terms of leadership. Wajid says, I don't find any leadership quality in him. I don't know who you're talking about. There are a lot of comments here. Kindness and compassion are very important. Carla says, yes, they are. So if there are any questions or comments, I will go through this entire list and give it to you guys again. But we've come up on just over half an hour. So I want to have the opportunity here to answer your questions. That's my promise to you, that this is your opportunity to access me. So let me go through my lists again, and then I'm just going to respond to your questions. So the first list was traits of a leader, and there are 5 things in this list. The first one is integrity. The second one is honesty. The third one is trust of self and others you choose to trust. The fourth one is visionary. You have to be a visionary, and there's a difference between being a visionary and a dreamer. That's important. And then the 5th trait of a leader is that a leader is action-oriented. They have the strength and the courage to do things first, and then that's how they get other people to follow. And then the 4 steps I'm giving you for how to actually develop and build your leadership skills actively in your life are: number 1, believe in yourself. Number 2, have strength of character. Number 3, show kindness and compassion. And number 4, be empathetic, develop empathy. And practice it, do it as often as you possibly can. I will put this list up above this video in the description so that everyone can see it, but I would like to take a few minutes to answer your questions, any questions you may have. So let's see. Nasir says, can empathy become a weakness at times? No, I don't think so at all. I think empathy is actually what makes a good leader. And I would recommend actually looking for some new examples of leaders around the world, leaders who are working from a place of empathy and compassion for others. The Canadian Prime Minister, I just adore him, Justin Trudeau. I think he's a good person to follow and to learn from. The new French president, Macron, I really like what I'm seeing from him. Um, Now, don't mistake what I'm saying about empathy for weakness. So a good example of someone you can also learn from is Angela Merkel, who's the Prime Minister of Germany. Um, she's a very strong woman. I think everyone could learn from a strong woman. And she can have empathy. You know, we don't know what she does in her free time when she thinks about how do I react and respond to these different things and how do I feel about these different things. But she has run her country as an example of empathy on a very grand scale because of her willingness and her active work and millions of dollars invested in supporting Syrian refugees entering her country. So, and if she weren't an empathetic leader, look what's happening right now in my country with my broken leader. He's not my leader. He's just the president of the country I live in. I didn't put him there. But he lacks empathy. So when you look at Angela Merkel, who displayed a really big example of empathy versus the leader of the United States right now, that's an example. It's not weakness, it's strength. So Nasir, I hope that helps to answer your question, and I hope that you see it a little bit differently. What do I think about Imran Khan? I have zero opinion whatsoever. I actually rarely follow any politics because it's all, most of it is really heartbreaking right now. And the reason I mentioned the three leaders that I did is because I focus any of my time and my attention on any political leaders, just looking for the ones who I feel like are examples of what we are moving toward in this world, the kinds of leaders we need in this world. And nationalism and empathy, do they go hand in hand? That is an amazing question. I'm not a nationalist. I believe that there should be no borders, there should be no countries. I'm pretty radical. So that's why I built my classroom, because why wouldn't I teach you all from all over the world the same things that I teach my American students? Why? What's the difference? There's no difference to me. Okay, let me look at some more comments. So someone shared their opinion of Imran Khan. I won't share any opinions of any world leaders that I feel like they're making mistakes simply because it's not my place. I don't like spending my time or my energy talking about politics. I barely talk about the politics in this country because it's broken. It's completely broken. And the way we change my country is by electing new leaders into positions of leadership in this country. And that's going to take some time, which I wish it weren't the case, but it is. Rehan says, be a leader without the title. Yes, exactly. I completely agree. You're actually much freer if you are embodying your role as a leader without having some sort of office or position that you're beholden to. Because as soon as you are in that position, you are then responsible for doing everything that you promise to everyone. And politics is so corrupt and is so broken. It's broken. So this idea that, if you're a good person and can you become the Prime Minister of Pakistan? Sure. But doing that means that you're beholden to a lot of parts and pieces of that existing system. So you really need to think about that. Books to read on what? Kumram says, please suggest some books to read, but I don't know what kind of books you're talking about. Okay. Do you guys, you know what? I do like Moeed. I'm gonna respond to your comment here. Leaders are born, not made. Can they be created? I think that appeared up above as well. I have two thoughts on this. I feel like some leaders are born, but I also believe that you can develop your leadership skills and you can become a leader. And you can actively make choices and have an impact in our world in smaller ways or local ways. And to do that, you have to actually erase your existing beliefs or what you've been taught about what a leader is. I hope that answers your question. Those are my thoughts. All right, what else do we have here? Okay, Rehan says, read the book Leader Without a Title. Books like, specifically books on leadership. I don't read books on leadership, to be honest. I read a lot of books on how we fix broken systems. That's what's important to me, specifically the education system here in the United States and globally. So that's what I kind of focus on. And there's a lot that you can learn from your own life or from other people that you observe. You don't necessarily have to read a book, but I absolutely respect that question. I didn't come prepared to give you guys some books to read. Yeah, the reason I didn't come prepared with books to read is because exactly why I gave you these two lists that I gave you today. I want you to understand the foundation that goes into being a leader, and that's me as a teacher, right? So to build good curriculum and to be a good teacher, it's important for me to teach you what you need before you start building what you want to build. So, like I said, with all of the questions that have come up in Amy Carrier's classroom this week, there's so many people saying, I have this amount of money, what kind of ideas can I build? Or what kind of business can I build? Or someone might say, I have this idea, but no one else believes in it. And my response to so many of those kinds of posts is, do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in your idea? Do you believe you can do it? So if you don't get that very foundational lesson, then any book in the world you read, it might talk about some of this stuff, but any book in the world isn't going to give you what it is that you really need and you're really looking for. So I've given you an outline of the traits that I really want you to think about, and then the actual work that you can do, those 4 steps that you can work on, that you really should work on for the rest of your life to develop, to turn yourself into the wiser, more empathetic, more kind and compassionate version of yourself. And it's from that place that good leaders are born. There are lots of, more leadership books are coming into my mind now. There are lots of old leadership books, which are about power and control. And absolutely not. That is not leadership. Maybe that worked in the past. That doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't. Usman says, public administration could be a better option or not. I'm not sure what your question is. Public administration. Sorry, you'll have to explain that again. So someone's also asking about some, Art of War. I don't know. I'm hesitant to actually give you guys books to read because I don't want you to start there. I want you to start with what I've taught you today. We can have another class. We can have another discussion about what resources there are out there. And this is just the first step in the process of becoming a leader. But a leader, it's very much what's inside of you. So actually, I'll give you one more thing that I'd like you to do. I want you to think about who are the people you follow that you consider yourself someone that you respect or someone that you admire. What traits do they embody that you feel you want to develop in yourself? That is where I think you need to begin. And everything's changed. I mean, in my life, I know the books that I've been given in the past that I don't want to talk about here. Um, I know the types of leaders and presidents that have existed here in my country um, 10, 20 years ago. And there are a lot of things about them that wouldn't work today or that I wouldn't want to follow today, but maybe I did back then because I wasn't yet wise enough or developed enough in the way I thought about leadership. I didn't introduce myself. Uh, Thank you for saying that. My name is Amy Carrier. I put the name of my classroom up in the top of the description for this video, and I also put my name so that you can follow me. Thank you. I didn't introduce myself. We only know about you as a teacher only. Okay. Perhaps I should make a video about that, but I'll tell you just really quickly. I've been a teacher my whole life, and it started when I was 4 years old, when my 2-year-old sister became my first student. And every situation I've been in my whole life, I've been a teacher. But I'm not a follower, and I'm a visionary. So that's kind of an interesting dichotomy, especially today, because the existing culture of formal education in this country, in America, and globally, especially in the colonized nations, is based on old Victorian ways of teaching. And I don't believe in any of it. So for me to become a teacher, I pretty much looked at my experience growing up. I had a single mother. We didn't have much money at all. And no one in my family before me had been to college. But my mother went to work at a college so that we could get free tuition. My sister and I could get free tuition at Ithaca College. And that was wonderful. But I had no guidance. My mom was a secretary. I had no professional mentors. I had nobody to ask, how do I do this? How do I go to college? How do I choose a major? How do I build a career? How do I get an apartment? How do I pay for insurance? How do I save money? So I pretty much, I started working in education technology, and I saw an incredible opportunity. It taught me how to build organizations and build programs, and I traveled all over the United States building chapters of this organization. And then I built the Boston chapter of the Education Technology Organization. And from there, I was recruited by the founder of a high school who said to me, I think you could build an amazing entrepreneurship class. And I said, yeah, absolutely. I've learned so many bits and pieces about how to build an organization. So I decided I'm going to do this. The school hired me, put me in a position to build what I wanted to build. And I don't know if any of my students are on here watching this right now. My Fenway High School students, if you are, say hello. My comments are not scrolling. I apologize. But I had this amazing opportunity to teach high school students, 16, 17, and 18-year-olds, everything I never learned and always wanted to know. So I taught my students entrepreneurship. I also taught them financial literacy, insurance, networking, how to develop a career, how to think about the future, how to write a business plan. I taught all of these things that I thought should be accessible to every single student, not just a student who goes to Harvard or not just a student who gets into a $50,000 a year university. I think everything should be available to everybody. So I developed this program, and this is part of what Amy Carrier's classroom is based upon. I taught that program at Fenway High School. I developed it, I taught it, I proved it. It got a lot of attention because it was very innovative in 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I got a lot of good press for it. And actually, a producer from CNN called me one day. I thought it was a joke at first. I pick up my phone and, "Hi, Amy, I'm a producer at CNN." And I look and I'm like, "What?" So CNN put me online on air. And if you guys haven't seen that video, that's me talking about the importance of teaching business skills and entrepreneurship in high school. That is the fairest and most equitable way in my country to make sure that all young people learn these skills. And since then, I've been working with other schools and districts and businesses and private clients to help them teach what I taught and what I, learned from what I learned when I was developing that. Because I'm a builder, I'm a founder, I'm an entrepreneur, just like many of you guys. Thank you for asking that question. Let's see. Suresh, better option in a way. Oh, I think you're responding to someone else. Good motivational story of my life. Thank you, SN. And Saeed, thank you for saying multi-talented. I am. In fact, that's why I've told you guys, you don't need a degree. You don't need to go to business school. You don't need to be an expert in anything. You just start. And if it's something that's bigger than you, and nowadays everything is bigger than just you build a team. And that means you have to develop your leadership skills. And that's exactly what the purpose of this conversation was today. So when I was thinking about what is it that I want to make my second weekly lesson about, last week, if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. I always publish all of these weekly classes on my YouTube channel. Please go there and subscribe right now. My YouTube channel is called Amy Carrier Empowers. Last week was fear of failure. And it was one of the themes that I started seeing coming up in the group. So that's what drove that topic. And what drove this topic, nobody actually said, "Can you teach us about leadership?" It's that everything that was coming up, all of the questions that were being asked and the challenges that people were facing, I saw a problem I wanted to solve. And that was, how can I teach the members of Amy Carrier's classroom how to become leaders, how to develop their leadership skills? So thank you. And if you feel like you're the type of person who can solve problems, who can see challenges, and you just have that idea of, I think I know how to fix this, that means you have inside of you that seed of becoming an entrepreneur. And you can have the idea, you can have the drive, you can have the desire to do it, you might even have the money, but you are the one who has birthed the idea, so you have to be the leader. You can't just have an idea and hand it to someone else to be the leader to run with it. If you do that, it's their idea, it'll never be your idea. So that's why I wanted to teach this today. All right, we've got about 5 more minutes here, so thank you very much. Saeed says, would I like to come to Pakistan? Maybe. I worked in Kenya. I believe in working with women and teenagers, especially in the most disadvantaged situations. That's my personal passion. But I do a lot to try and bring the issues that I work on to people who live in developed nations and need to hear that other people actually matter. It's not just people with business degrees, or it's not just, white people living in America who matter. It's everyone. So yes, I'm sure I would love to go to Pakistan if the opportunity arises. Hamad says, can you give any practical implication experienced knowing leaders? I think you're asking practical application. Oh, implication, knowing leaders. I'm not exactly sure what you're asking, but I think you're saying, can I give you examples of other leaders that I've known and worked with or learned from? Yeah, everything I've learned about leadership, I've learned from either working for a good boss or a bad boss or a mediocre boss or a boss who doesn't care, um, or a boss who micromanages. You know, my good and bad experiences have all brought me to this place of giving you the advice that I'm giving you. Um, I have to admit, I'm not a person who looks to leaders to show me the way. I am a leader. I absolutely learn from and pay attention to what I admire in the leaders that exist. Like I told you, I gave you 3 world leaders that I admire, that when I follow them all on Facebook, even Marcon, even though I don't speak French, I like to sometimes just tune in and watch his live videos just to feel his energy. Um, Angela Merkel, I think, has handled a lot of what's been happening, especially with the G8 and the Paris Agreement. I admire her leadership and her choices. Um, and I really, a lot of us Americans just adore Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada. A lot of us, we've joked. Some have been serious about, I can just go north of the border and have a very different experience if I were living in Canada. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, Saeed. Saeed is inviting me to Pakistan. Thank you very much. So Farouk is asking, do you think present schooling pattern would last, or learning will change in an altogether different platform? Farouk, I'm so curious. Please, can you ask that question in a different way? Because I'm really curious what you're asking. Would present schooling last? Or will learning change in an altogether learning platform? Okay, I'm going to answer your question this way. I think learning is changing by exactly what you're watching right now. The reason I did this is because I want to get my curriculum, my lessons out to as many people in the world as possible. And how do we do that? We're doing it right now. So the biggest platform is this one, is Facebook, is connecting. You're connecting with me in the United States right now, no matter where you are in the world. You're watching this live, you're asking questions. That is how we're changing education. Now, the other side of it, present schooling, I feel like I participated in a conference at MIT called Solve. I'll actually show you guys if you want to look it up. The Solve conference at MIT. I was invited there for the first year, and I was specifically asked the question, how do I think, what is my vision for the future of education in 50 or 100 years? And I said that in 50 years, I really believe that the future of education is every child having access to what it is. It's twofold. They're like two very different things here. Every child has access to any curriculum they need in a handheld device, so in a phone or whatever. But on the other side, the future of education has to be more local. It has to be more community members. It has to be more people in the village actually stepping up and saying, I care about the children in my community, so I'm going to get involved. I'm going to allow them to come spend time with me and learn from me, or do an apprenticeship with me, or do an internship with me. We need more of that to change education. So it's both exposure to all information for all people across the globe. So that's like the big, huge version, the global vision. And then the meta vision, which is the individual vision, is every child needs to have a community and a village around her or him. And that's why, again, that's why I built what I built in my career, because I didn't have the village to teach me all the things that I needed to know. It wasn't just the math and the science and the English. I needed to know a lot of practical information about how to live my life, how to be successful, how to make smart decisions, how to exist in a world that's based on money. So that's why I built what I built. Thank you. That was a great question. SN likes the Canadian Prime Minister as well. Okay, so I'm going to take one more question, and that is, team members are important for any team leader. Yes. How can a team leader engage the team with the same enthusiasm for a better result? Hamad, that is an amazing question. I want you to ask that in Amy Carrier's classroom. And if you can get a big enough discussion around this, I'll do another class. Maybe next week's class will be on this. Because being a leader is just one step of many, many steps in becoming an entrepreneur. So fantastic question. Thank you. And I think that's a great way to end our class today. Saeed says he wants to get the benefits from my education experience. That's why I'm doing this, guys. And please understand, if you write to me, I cannot respond to everybody. And you have no idea how many people are writing to me asking for an hour of my time. This is the hour of my time. Or asking me to give them an opinion on hundreds of different things. I can't. So that's why I started Amy Carrier's classroom. So really quickly, before I hop off, I'm going to go through what I've just taught you again. And I'm actually, before I do that, I'm going to give you some links to follow. I'll also post them in the top of this post again for you. But I want you to follow me on Facebook. I'm on facebook.com/Amy Carrier. I want you to definitely join Amy Carrier's classroom if you're not already a member. And I have a new public page, which is going to be connected to my new website, which is going to have my products and classes on it. So you definitely want to follow that. And that is facebook.com/Amy Lynn Carrier. That's Amy, A-M-Y. Lynn is L-Y-N-N, Carrier, C-A-R-R-I-E-R. All of these links will be up at the top. I want you absolutely to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can get all of the lessons that I'm teaching. There for free. I'm also doing these mini 2-minute videos. I was given a challenge by Rehan, I don't know if he's still here, to do 100 2-minute videos and post them on YouTube with tiny little snippets of like the top 3 things you need to know about this right now. So you want to have access to those. They're on my YouTube channel. YouTube channel is Amy Carrier Empowers. Please sign up for my newsletter. This is where you're going to learn about my new courses. You'll learn about my new website. You'll get discounts for my courses. My existing website is where you need to sign up for the newsletter. It's in the right-hand column. The existing website is empowermentthrougheducation.com. I'm also on LinkedIn. You should absolutely connect with me on LinkedIn. That is the professional networking space. There's a lot that I want you guys to learn and use LinkedIn for. So I'm on linkedin.com/in/Amy L. Carrier. Please make sure you add me, connect with me there. I'm also on Twitter, and my handle on Twitter is WhatAmyThinks. So please connect with me on Twitter. And I think I pretty much covered all my social media. So I'm going to really quickly go through what you learned today. And then I'm going to say goodbye. And thank you to everyone who's here. And thank you to all these really amazing questions. You guys are phenomenal. Thank you so much. If you didn't see my little 5-minute video last night, I thanked everyone in my classroom. You should check that out. All right, so 5 traits of a leader are integrity, honesty, trust of themselves and others that they work with or choose to work with, visionary. 4th is their visionary, and the 5th is your action-oriented. And then your action items, your work to do, your homework for becoming a leader are these 4 steps. Number 1, work on believing in yourself. And this comes from that deeper work of learning how to love yourself. So go back and watch that. Number 2 is have a strength of character. And that means do not be reactive to the opinions and sometimes the attacks of other people. They don't say anything about you. They only speak to that person's character. So you have the strength of character in yourself. And remember this mantra that I said to you. What someone else thinks of me is none of my business. What someone else thinks of me is none of my business. Okay, you all can think whatever you want to think of me. I'm a teacher, so I want you to write back and say, I need to know more about that. But if you're here, if you're watching me, I hope it's because you find me to be a valuable teacher right now in your life. If you don't, then you can move along. Number 3, your third step, action item here, is to show kindness and compassion in your life more often, all the time, as much as you can. Catch yourself when you're doing something or saying something that's not kind and say, you know what, I'm growing just by catching myself right now and choosing a different response. And then finally, be empathetic toward all people. Put yourself in their shoes and imagine how they are feeling. All right, thank you all for being here and having an amazing second live lesson in Amy Carrier's classroom. I will see you guys in the classroom for much more discussion. Thank you so much.